Good morning. This is the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Weather Briefing for Monday, January 26th. Looking at our Great Basin map, we do have prescribed fire projects in the purple, mostly across the western half of the geographic area, and some recent small natural fires, an acre or less, across parts of northern Utah. It has been extremely dry, not just the past few days, but the past couple of weeks. 2-week precipitation totals near zero across most areas. You see the percent of normal, which is basically 0 to 5% of normal, covering about 95% of the area. The closest we had is some southeastern areas had some light precipitation a few days ago, but that was basically it. This is shown on our flash drought index. This is a 6-week analysis, and it shows that most of the southern half of the geographic area is in drought category 4, which is the highest one that there is. Again, this is a shorter term drought. The traditional drought monitor is something that evaluates things over 6 months or longer. This is more, this can be tailored to whatever your dry spell is. We've selected 6 weeks. And this is also reflected in the snowpack. You see most snowpacks are somewhere between 20 and 40% of normal. Eastern areas doing a little bit better, 50 or 60% of normal across the higher terrain of eastern Utah. Near normal, the only areas around normal are the Teton areas of western Wyoming, are 101% of normal. The Idaho mountains are somewhere around 80% of or 87% of normal. A lot of that, though, is in the middle to higher elevations. Some of the lower elevations that normally do have 6 to 12 inches of snow packed by this time of year are pretty much bare, and we see that reflected on our snow cover map. A lot of the darker blues and purples, which reflect 2, 3, 4 feet of snow, are basically elevations above 6,000 feet. But that 5,000 to 6,000 foot elevation, the snow cover really peters out, also doing very poorly in the Sierra as well. Looking at our ERC fuels, and all across the geographic area, from parts of western Idaho, you can see the ERCs are near record dry levels and are forecast to rise. See this little green circle here with a black outline, above record levels for this time of year during the next 7 days. Same story down in central eastern Utah. Very dry, near record levels, and expected to increasingly dry well beyond record levels over the next 7 days, as there really is no precipitation in the forecast. Upper level map for today on the left. You can see we kind of have we call a dirty ridge of high pressure. Well, it's an arc of high pressure off the California coast, but there's still some high and mid-level clouds coming in over the top of it, but nothing organized, no real deep push of moisture. That is well off the California coast, and that's going to stay off to our west and north. Ventilation index or dispersion index, good, where you see the areas in the white, marginal in the yellow, and poor areas in the red. You can see the winds on the left-hand side. Out of the south in a lot of areas, mostly 5 to 12 miles an hour in a lot of those yellow and green areas. Near calm in those purple and whitish areas. You see the minimum relative humidity in the afternoon, mid-teens in southern areas, getting up into the mid-20s central areas, and 30 to 40% and higher as you head further north. Transport winds a little stronger along the ridge tops. See some of those enhanced purple and orange areas. Mixing heights, how high the smoke will go before it starts flattening out. And we see areas in green to yellow. It's basically 2,000 to 3,000 feet. Areas in the blue and purple lower than that. High pressure ridge builds in. You see that tannish shade of dry air over us. The dying cold front with some light clouds and precipitation over northwest California. Ventilation overall gets a little worse with a high pressure over us. Less areas in the white, a lot more in that yellow and reddish shade. Same story with the humidity, mid-teens in the south, 30 to 50% RH in the north. Winds overall fairly light in most areas on the left. Transport winds, same story, except for maybe some of the higher terrain in far northwest Nevada. Then the high pressure ridge starts flattening out a little bit on Wednesday, but still we're under high pressure. There is a weak cold front pushing through eastern Utah, But you see overall, by mid-afternoon, the ventilation index pretty bad across most areas. Very few areas totally in the white. So a lot of that hazy, low mixing is expected to continue. Surface winds on the left, very light across just about all areas. You see the humidity, again, very dry in southern areas, and again, 30 to 50% or higher further to the north. Not much in the way of transport winds either. Mixing heights, same story. 3-day precipitation totals, bone dry over the next 3 days. Not much precipitation at all. All the actions further up in the northeastern part of the United States. And same story on Thursday. The persistent high-pressure ridge over the western Pacific continues to push over California. The deep moisture, that deep green you see about 1,000 miles offshore, gets pushed up into British Columbia or foreign western areas of Washington state. Ventilation index still pretty poor, and the high pressure being over us continues that poor ventilation, light winds on Friday. You see the clouds over Idaho and maybe far northern Nevada and Utah. That's again referred to as a dirty ridge of high pressure. That was moisture that was deep moisture off the Pacific coast, now starting to thin out. There could be some spotty light sprinkles, but otherwise just overcast skies or high overcast, and even that disappears by Saturday with high pressure firmly in control. There's a weak low pressure area forming over the Baja area, but that moisture again stays well to our south. But then it does start to open up a little bit on Sunday with some clouds coming into our southern areas. Maybe some spotty light precipitation, but nothing organized, nothing that would make a drastic change in our fuel or drought situation. Days 4 and 5 precipitation, not much at all. Day 6 and 7, again, at southern. Moisture really not expected to show up much at the surface. We'll see how that plays out. 7-day totals, no precipitation. Our drought continues to worsen, and the 8 to 14-day outlook shows a continuation as we go into the first week of February. Warmer to much above normal conditions across all areas, and significantly drier than normal across our region as well. This concludes our briefing. Next one coming up this Wednesday. Have a great day.